If you're looking for some great Dungeons & Dragons content, or if you're looking for some sweet, wholesome indie animation, if you're looking for great writing, amazing characters, and a feature that is just perfect for the whole family, then might I suggest to you Dungeon Flippers.
Let's see here. Not this. Aha! Here it is. The Dungeon Flippers.
This hilarious, wholesome, wonderfully animated cartoon follows the adventures of Molly and Cleveland as they attempt to help the irate wizard, the Ace of Wands, find a new home where he can happily and to his heart's content rain death and destruction upon humanity. Wait, I said that this was appropriate for all ages and families? You bet! Because as opposed to showing us all of that gruesomeness and horror, we instead focus on the hilarious adventures of dungeon flippers, of real estate agents, a manticore and a dragon helping this absolutely dumb wizard figure out what he really wants. Does he just want a tower to rain down death and destruction? If so, he could have actually had that in multiple houses back. What he's looking for is he's looking for what's really in his heart of hearts, his cold heart of hearts. And we get this amazing emotional journey for our main character, Molly. This just has absolutely everything that you would want to have in an entertaining story. I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10 stars. Is this an absolutely perfect show? No, it is not. This is not a masterpiece, but it's so much fun. It's so dang good. And you know what? Sometimes you just need to enjoy something that's good, something that is just unadulteratedly itself, something that knows what it is and enjoys being what it is, something that's got some good humor without having to get gross, something that delivers an adult tale, but in a way that even kids can enjoy themselves, and it's just all around goodness. Now, if you're here at Camille's Harem, a YouTube channel for novice authors by novice authors, where we also occasionally do D&D reviews and analyses, and we are definitely overdue for one of those, you're here for the talk about the writing. What is it that makes Lars just absolutely sing the praises of this show when he says it's just simply good? 10 out of 10 stars good. Well, let me tell you this. I love the characters. There's so much depth to them. They are not mere caricatures like what you would expect from a lot of cartoons. There's so much depth to them. And unfortunately, I feel like this is an aspect that's lost on a lot of people who've discovered and come to love this cartoon. I get to see in the comments and other people posting, I just love Molly. She's just such a brimming ball of positive energy. She's such a sweet cinnamon roll. Oh, Cleveland, the guy is absolutely losing his soul to his job. Someone get him a vacation. Get him a day off. And the Ace of Wands, oh, you pathetic, lovable wizard. Give him some pats on the head and then run away before he zaps you into oblivion. And while those three things are true, there's a whole lot more to those characters. For instance, when we look at Molly, yes, she is absolutely positive. But within this episode, we also get to see her being fake happy, fake positive as she's dealing with the Ace of Wands antics. She is also someone who can get frustrated, disappointed, let down. We get to see her angry. We get to see her being genuine. And we get to see her being heartfelt. All of those different emotions help us to see different angles of her character, of her personality, and get to know her really, really quickly. You feel by the end of this episode like you could hang out and have lunch with Molly and you'd absolutely get along perfectly. You already know her personality from multiple angles. Feels like you can be fast friends with her. And heck, I'd want to check out the dungeons that she has to offer. They're probably out of my price range, but still, I'd be willing to look. And then with Cleveland, yes, you get the sense that maybe he needs a vacation, maybe he's been doing this job a little bit too long, but at the same time, he loves what he's doing. We get to see him getting excited, not only about the challenge of finding the Ace of Wands a new home, but also, we got these sweet properties that we can show you. He genuinely gets excited. We also get him see him being disappointed, frustrated, just like Molly. We get to see him freak out when the Ace of Wands gets devoured by the void because he's being a stupid wizard. wizard, and we also get to see him, and this is very important, we get to see him being supportive of Molly. This makes him a great wingman supporting character within the story, and not just simply the co-worker. As a result, again, Cleveland feels like a character I could hang out with and have lunch with. Maybe I wouldn't have as much fun as I would have with Molly, but I could get to know Cleveland. And even the Ace of Wands, while he is passed off as this rather bland, pathetic, unimaginative wizard who has just simply dedicated himself to the art of wand creating in order to destroy humanity, we get to learn that this guy feels disappointment, despair, depression, and he is going on an arc of self-discovery by finding a new home. He needs to realize that there's a little bit more to life than just simply raining down death and destruction. Ultimately, he takes kind of the wrong lesson out of this, and he tends to love himself a little bit more than he should, but hey, that helps Molly and Cleveland figure out exactly what they need to do in order to pull him back out of the void when he gets absorbed into it, because he wishes inadvertently that he would just simply disappear. Whoops! So we get all of these elements, all of these sides, angles, flavor to these characters, and it feels like we've honestly gotten to know them. And as we get to know these characters, holy cow, I want to go on more adventures with them. I've gotten more characterization out of these 3 cartoon characters in about 15 minutes than I've gotten out of 6+ episodes of The Acolyte. That is bad. Another thing that I need to praise this story for is its incredible world building. I love the premise of monsters helping to refit and sell dungeons and castles to basically D&D monsters and bosses. And they get super creative, where you've got the slime with the stereotypical Dungeons and Dragons puzzle dungeon, and it's all good. But wait a second, when we get to the troll under the bridge, he's not just simply living under the bridge like a hobo. This troll was living like a king in a castle built into the bridge. That's pretty awesome. And then we got the Witch King's palace, which is just so terrifying that humanity hasn't brought themselves yet to destroy it. Oh, I'd want to try to live there. At least I would spend a night there for $1 million.
It's where the cryptid lives. Just park here on the street, right? I guess so.
REM pod.
Oh, no way.
No.
Did I hear those 2 noises? The creaking? Yeah. Is that your foot? No, I'm not. I haven't moved a muscle.
But the thing is, I haven't had that happen, that feeling happen, where you just feel like drained.
Maybe they did open a portal to something, because why are those going off?
And we get to see all of these other great towers, castles, dungeons, and even the void, where anything that you imagine can become reality, but not quite. There is a little bit of a caveat there. The void will do things to you according to your imagination, will provide things, but none of it will actually stick. That was a very interesting little detail. And it's fun because as someone who plays Dungeons and Dragons and as a dungeon master himself, I look at all of these different scenarios. I'm like, that's fantastic. I would absolutely do that. Have a troll castle under a bridge? Absolutely, I'd do that. Ooh, you gotta go into the void to go up against this ultimate evil wizard. But what if you learn the secrets of the void and you can then start battling against him, changing his own castle against his will, depending on the roll of the dice, of course. But you can do so many things with these different settings, and you get so much of it communicated to you through brilliant visual storytelling. This is something that cartoons do almost better than any other type of visual medium. How much information can be communicated to you shot for shot with background details, because cartoonists are trying to do as much as they can with as little time and as little budget as they're always given, and it's amazing what they're able to pull off, and you get that absolutely here on the screen. You are getting $1 million worth of fantastic content in this pilot, and again, to compare it to The Acolyte, $30 million per episode, and you get an absolute waste. And the last thing, writing-wise, that I want to bring up that I really enjoyed is that we get a kind of roadmap of what to expect should the series continue for what we will encounter next. Molly wishes to repair her family's dungeon. This is going to require time, money, resources. Sure, she could get manpower to help her out, or monster power, but she wants to do it herself, which will then require that she obtains quite a bit on her end. Now, after the end of this episode, she has indeed acquired plenty of money, but as we see, there's a lot of rubble and a lot of work to do. But for Molly, the most important thing isn't necessarily the money, but that she's able to now take important steps forward towards restoring her family home. And I love this because it isn't now just simply about the fun shenanigans of the monster of the week, or in this case, the customer of the week that we'll be dealing with, but every single adventure is supposed to guide us along the way towards this lovable manticore rebuilding her family dungeon and making it amazing, something that she can be proud of. And as we see, she has this incredible imagination and some magic that allows her to envision what everything should be like, and she has a grand vision for whatever this place is meant to be, but it's going to take a lot of work for her to get there. And so she's going to try to be the best real estate agent that she possibly can be in order to make her dreams come true. That is a fun story, and that is a great roadmap for what to expect in the rest of the series. This pilot episode did everything it was supposed to do. It established the setting, the atmosphere, the tone, it introduced us to fantastic characters, and it gave us an idea of what to expect throughout the rest of the story. Brilliant, excellent, again, I love this! 10 out of 10 stars! Now, to switch gears a little bit and head on over to the Dungeons & Dragons way of thinking, get creative with your castles, with your villainous hideouts. How many of us have made the creepy castle? How many of us have made the evil cave or the ancient ruins, where really it's more about the aesthetic than it really is about anything else, and then you battle your way through some monsters, maybe some puzzles if you're being really intelligent, really ambitious as the dungeon master, and then you fight the boss and then you're done with it. What we get in Dungeon Flippers should actually encourage you to think a little bit more about the lair of the big bad evil guy. What is the history behind it? What went into building this place? What if this wasn't their original lair? What if this belonged to someone else? What kinds of crazy gimmicks, traps, and all kinds of features can you put into a lair? And not just your stereotypical Dungeons & Dragons dungeon, but instead your castle under a bridge, your castle in the void, a magical clock tower that houses a wizard. You can come up with all of these incredible different locales for your party to go into, and you'd want to lay out all of these details and clues that hopefully encourage them to explore a little bit more about what's going on, and not just simply pick at the loot, but to try to understand this place. And the more that they understand, the more they become immersed, and that might lead them to some of the really neat discoveries that you have hidden just for them. By putting more effort into your lairs, your castles, and your dungeons, it can be a very rewarding experience for your party as they discover things that they were not expecting. Things that can add to the world building, or to the plot, or maybe they're just really fun and engaging for them. Doing this makes the dungeon crawling experience way more entertaining, way more rewarding and fulfilling, and can inspire other players who later on want to be dungeon masters to come up with their own unique settings. And thus you perpetuate all of that great creativity that continues to fuel the game of Dungeons & Dragons. So yeah, those are my big takeaways from this fantastic episode, this fantastic pilot. More and more people should watch this because this is absolutely amazing. Give this guy as much funding as possible. Link is in the description below for you to go check it out and check out all of his social media, so that way if you want to support this incredible series of Dungeon Flippers, you then are empowered to do so. Because this is the kind of creativity, this is the kind of quality, this is the kind of storytelling that is absolutely going to put traditional entertainment from publishing to Hollywood to shame, because they are not doing stuff like this. Indie creation is where it's at. If we can continue to promote indie creation, make it more mainstream, get these stories on out there to more people, not only will that be of great service to these individuals and help to perpetuate great stories, but they will continue to inspire other storytellers to go beyond what they thought was possible and bring their amazing stories to the rest of the world, whether that be at the table or in your hands with a book or on the big screen, or maybe on the small screen of your phone, wherever it be. There are so many great stories that need to yet be told, and one of the best ways that we can do that is by supporting these indie creators. And with that being said, if you want to support indie creators like us here on Camille's Harem, then please check out the books that we ourselves have published. Links for them are in the description below. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure through Dungeons and Dragons, through indie animation, through writing and amazing storytelling. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.